I guess I'm going to keep that there. Two of Cups. Three of Cups staring at me. Two of Wands, Five of Wands, Four of Cups, Emperor, Nine of Cups, King of Wands, Page of Wands. All right. You got a couple people that are having a conversation about something, and they're talking about something, and there you also, I mean, you also could have, because we did have that Two of Cups, you also could have two people who are, you know, having an issue within a relationship, but I don't see anything major. I just see like a little, you know, a minor argument or something like that, or a minor disagreement. Okay. Somebody could be like, you know, tell me about this Four of Cups. Okay, Pentacles in reverse. Tell me about this Emperor. My gosh. Now, in one scenario, you have two people who did not see eye to eye with something. They disagree on two different things, or maybe a same subject, but maybe have two different ideas about something. There could be a little argument about it. Somebody may even kind of come across as somebody who's being very ungrateful, and they're like, well, I'm just not going to do this anymore. You know, something like that. I don't necessarily think that's what it is. I feel like whatever it is, there's a problem in the communication. There is a miscommunication. That's what fives are. They're struggling communication. Okay, somebody is kind of like taking something, you know, feel like somebody may have taken something for granted, and somebody's actually pouring out the milk. You know, it's like somebody's like intentionally like feeling a little spiteful, you know, or I don't know necessarily it's spiteful. I mean, the King of Pentacles is in reverse. So either somebody's being very, very rigid and saying, well, I'm just not going to do this anymore, or I'm just going to whatever. Kind of like being like that, being a little stingy or selfish or something like that. Somebody could even be coming across as being stingy or selfish. I don't necessarily think that's what it is. I feel like there could probably be some understanding that's needed. Now, another scenario I'm getting is there is someone who, somebody cares very much about a person in particular. I feel like two people may have gotten a little bit disconnected. Two people are on different levels, maybe different levels of understanding, different levels of whatever. Somebody rules with their heart, somebody rules with their head. And somebody could also be very, very protective, a little bit rigid, okay? Now, this could have something to do with a trip or a vacation or something like that, because a lot of times the Eight of Cups is, you know, talks about, you know, a movement or a leaving something, but a lot of times it can be like a party, you know, somebody kind of like staying out a little bit too late. Somebody maybe feels like something could be too late, you know, it could even be something like that. Maybe somebody's like, you know, too late, the damage is done. It could even be something like that. I don't necessarily feel like that's what it is, because none of these cards really seem bad. The only thing that's concerning is this Tower. Somebody may be a little bit, you know, shocked by something, okay? And this Ace of Wands, I mean, the passion's still there. Everything's still there. In some cases, it could be somebody who, you know, it could even be something, you know, I don't like this scenario, but there really could be someone, an emperor, who, you know, the wife's about to come home, you need to leave. Could have something like that too. At least that's the way it's looking with this right here. Let's hope not. That could be. That could be. Somebody coming. Never mind. What is this Tower? Five of Cups. It's always about the level of understanding that you could be on in regards to somebody. Sometimes the tiniest little things can really be blown up, and I you know, I do that. I'm guilty of that. You know, I had my mom is a Cancer. My mom and both my parents were Cancers. So and Italian. You know, my mom was Italian, so very animated. It gets very, very excitable. So I'm a very, very watery earth sign because I learned how to be sometimes if I hear a certain noise, or not noise, but like certain stories or whatever, I get very, very deeply emotional. I get enveloped in whatever it is. If somebody, I feel like somebody does something to hurt another person, or somebody does something to get over on another person, it bothers me. It really, really bothers me. Something that, I have to be careful about because, I could come across as being too overly protective. Wanting to save somebody or rescue somebody from somebody else taking advantage of them. Okay? I've gotten in trouble with that many times. So, somebody could be feeling a little bit regretful, or somebody could even be intentionally ignoring somebody, because especially like in this, somebody's like, look, I'm having all these emotions, I'm going through something right now. And this person's intentionally ignoring this person. Okay? And that could be what that is. So let's say, there was two people, let's say a couple of people got into an argument about something. It could have been something very minor, just maybe miscommunication. Somebody could be intentionally, somebody maybe doesn't want the conflict. So they're kind of like taking a step back, before they respond, which is always a good thing. Hopefully it's nothing about anything ghosting or anything like that. I don't necessarily think it's what it is. But that could be part of what that is. Hopefully there's nothing going on in somebody's home where somebody was caught with another person, or somebody's like, hey, you need to leave right now because the wife's about to come home. And somebody could be like, or something like that, where somebody could be like missing somebody's calls intentionally, because there's somebody there and they can't answer because there's somebody there right now. Okay. So it could be something like that too. Especially with this Knight of Wands. Got a couple different scenarios that could be going on here. 2 of Cups, 7 of Cups. 3 of Pentacles. So, in regards to the scenario that a side scenario that it could be, somebody cheating or something like that, you got to go, or somebody, somebody's ignoring their phone. In that situation, that person's not going to find out yet. And if they do know, they're going to forgive that person. Is kind of what I'm getting, if it is something about that scenario. But I don't necessarily think that person's going to know what it is yet. They're not going to find out yet, but it's going to be definitely a close call. If you're doing something like that, don't do that. Okay? No cheating. However, the situation where 2 people, somebody's kind of like taking a step back and trying to think about something before they respond to somebody, eventually it's going to come together. Whatever it is, I feel like somebody's going to, you both, whatever the miscommunication was, you both really care a hell of a lot about each other. You're both probably healers. And, this isn't over. A lot of times things get to us. And we get into certain situations. And sometimes our intentions, and the intentions, we have the best intentions, not just because things don't always work out the way that we anticipate. A lot of times our intentions are so really, really good, but we know how that goes too. I don't know. Sometimes you got people who, what was I going to say? How was I going to say this? Basically, don't throw everything away. If you have like one little hiccup or something like that, or there's like some sort of a miscommunication, lots of ridiculous things happen over communication or miscommunication. Sometimes people just go right to worst case scenario when something happens. It's not always worst case scenario. It's not always something that bad. It's not always something that devastating. You got to figure everyone in the world anymore is like very hurt. Everyone is damaged in some sort of way, and we're all trying to navigate. We're all trying to get through it. We're all doing the best that we can. Sometimes it's good to be a little bit more forgiving to each other, a little bit more understanding. Because if we all go about, life in a knee-jerk motion, whenever any little tiny thing happens, we're always going to be single. We're never going to find love. We're never going to find that thing that we want because we're always just chopping off heads left and right. Okay? Especially if you do both care about each other. So, I see there's going to be a making up, which is nice. Okay? But, yeah, if you need just a few minutes before you respond, take that. Sometimes, a lot of times different people, even people, they argue a different way. Some people are very different with the way that they argue. Our reactions are all different. We all have a different style of arguing. We all have a different style of making love. We all have a different style of protecting another person. We're all full of so many different personalities and so many different emotions. Even us, our own selves, still are discovering new things about ourselves. The depths that we hold within us. We still don't know everything that's even within inside of us. So, I think the important thing a lot of times is not just to kind of like walk away, but to understand the other person. This seems like a really, really big topic because I mentioned this the other day. Understand where the other person's coming from. We have to be able to understand, to read each other. If not, you have nothing. And if you're not willing to try to understand or compromise or see something from a different perspective, the universe is going to make you feel it so that you do understand one day. Okay? If not, then chances are we're not really, really mature enough to kind of get involved with another person. If you're not willing to see something from another person's perspective. Once in a while at least. You got to. Just trying to be human out here. Alright. Like, comment, share, follow. Hit the thumbs up, hit the notification bell, and subscribe to the channel.